Okay, so the other category we talked about is property crimes, and we mentioned that those are basically your burglaries, your larcenies, that type of thing, where it's not necessarily you have a human victim, but you have a property victim, basically.
Yes.
So kind of explain. So we did see a slight increase this year with property crimes. So talk a little bit about that and where some of those increases were.
And the property crimes also include vehicle thefts, but it also includes shoplifting. And we see some major retail establishments in this community that are very active in catching shoplifters. So we see a lot of those. So that includes that number, very active. But yeah, the numbers did go up. Again, they're lower than they were in 2012 and 2011 and back then, but they did go up a little bit. Again, it's, you get the kids out there breaking into cars at night, and all those kind of things. And so property crimes have gone up, but again, our solve rate is a little bit higher than our benchmark cities. It's not real high, but it is higher. We're at 25%, where benchmark cities at 22%.
And so where are our crime levels based on those other benchmark cities? Are we even? Are we a little bit higher? Are we lower? Where are we at?
Our crime levels, again, we're actually a little bit lower for our crime levels compared to benchmark cities. A couple of categories are a little bit higher, but overall, I think we're a little bit lower.
Okay. All right, great. So, I mean, and people can see this information, and they're more than welcome to contact the police department, and we can, if they have questions about how these numbers are compiled or what these means and stuff. But what I want to ask you though is, okay, so we have all these numbers. We see that over the years the numbers kind of ebb and flow, go up and down, and it kind of is it looks like it's in line with what happens nationally. But explain how you look at these numbers from year to year and what that means to you when you look at, either the numbers go up or the numbers go down. What does that mean for the department?
And I look at those numbers specifically to, first off, to compare against other cities to see how we're doing in the state and nationally, but also so that we can look at ways to address crime, to better address crime. If there are certain areas where these crimes are occurring that we can focus on, if there's partnerships we can establish to help reduce crime, and create neighborhood watches, all those kind of things. We look at those stats, and also we look at those stats for our staffing numbers as we go into our budgets each year. So I look to see how we're doing nationwide and request the staffing that I think is appropriate for this community to try and address these issues.
Okay. And I'm just going to ask this question, could the increase in numbers, especially the increase in arrest, could that mean that just is an indication of a very aggressive police force that's going out proactively looking to help stop crimes?
They're a very active and aggressive police force. In fact, if you look at the numbers, our arrests for drug offenses, and mostly minor drug offenses, is because of the traffic stops that the officers make. They make a lot of traffic stops in which there's a lot of drugs taken off of people, and so our drug arrests went up.
Okay, so that's a great segue. Can you tell me, so what are our traffic stops numbers look like?
We're about 6,000. Well, I don't have traffic stop numbers, just citation numbers.
Okay.
Today, citation numbers were about 6,000 a year.
Okay,
2015.
And citations are specifically for vehicle type related.
Yes, traffic related incidents.
So that includes speeding, following too close, texting while driving, all that stuff, right?
And so we look at the correlation between the traffic citations and our accident rate to see how we're doing, because usually the correlation is, the more citations you write, the less accidents you have in the community, because it's an educational factor. People are paying attention. So we look at that very closely to make sure that our traffic accident rate isn't going up, even though our citations have gone down. And we've stayed fairly steady with that. So I'd say the drivers in Idaho Falls are doing a pretty good job.
Okay, well, so you did bring up that point that our citations numbers are down.
Yes.
So can you kind of explain that a little bit more?
Well, there's a few reasons for that. There's a new training that's been come out the last few years that they really emphasize just the traffic stops, because criminals, burglars, everybody, they drive cars too. So they really emphasize the fact of you can prevent crime by making traffic stops, being aggressive in traffic stops, and looking for those other crime elements, probable cause for those other crimes. So our focus is on traffic stops, not traffic citations, even though citations relate to the safety of the driving patterns. So we have focused on that also. And besides that, the courts have ruled that we can't use quotas in evaluating our employees for the number of traffic stops, or traffic citations, put it that way. You can't use that. So that emphasis has gone away over the years in encouraging officers to write traffic citations because of that court ruling.
So, but basically what you're saying is that just because the citations are down doesn't mean that the number of traffic stops officers are making are down.
That's true. It doesn't necessarily mean that. However, most people know we did experience a shortage of staff for 2014 and 2015. We had a lot of retirements, and the time to get officers trained on the street by themselves, that creates a backlog and fewer people on the street to respond to those type of things. And as our crimes go up, types of crimes we have to respond to, because our calls for service has gone up. And so we're responding to more calls for service, so it leaves us less time and fewer officers to respond or to look for traffic violations.
Okay. So, but like I said, some of those traffic stops that you're making may not result in a speeding ticket, but it may result in a drug arrest.
That's right. Or even just the fact that you're stopping people. You got your lights on, you're on a major roadway. If somebody's going to commit a crime in that area, they're going to move on. Maybe even not commit the crime that night. So that's the importance of making those traffic stops, is you're visible with your lights on, everybody sees you in those high populated areas, and they move on.
Okay. And just to let people know, I mean, so the Idaho Falls Police Department actually participates in, they're national driving campaigns, which specifically address driving type habits such as wearing seatbelts, aggressive driving, which would include speeding, falling too close, texting while driving throughout the year. And so just let people know, so this year that included an additional 538 and a half hours of overtime, which initiated close to 5,000 contacts, which in itself, we issued 865 uninsured motorist tickets, 532 seatbelt tickets, over 1,000 speeding tickets, and 97 people were arrested for DUI just during those campaigns, which are only run about 10 to 15 weeks of the year.
Yes.
So
and we've been very, very lucky to receive that partnership from the Idaho Department of Transportation and get that funding to help educate and enforce those traffic violations.
Okay, so we've talked about the crimes and things, and we've noticed some increases. But overall, tell us really about the safety of the city.
Well, I'm quite pleased with the safety of the city. As I explained earlier, the crime rates overall have gone down, at least the last 10 years that we've looked at that. It's gone up a little bit here and there, but it's mostly down. It's way down from, 2004, 2005, in that area. We have a very safe city overall. And it's attributed, I think, to the caliber of the people that live in this city, people that come visit the city, but also the hard work of our officers. They're very dedicated, work very hard. And that's, again, why we use those benchmarks to kind of look and see where we're at. But we have a very safe city. But still, we need police officers. We still got to do our job because people still need us.